We are back, and thank you everybody for coming back on this beautiful September 1st here. It is a new month as technically speaking, in North America, the Media New Year is the day after Labor Day. So enjoy the final moments here as we sail across the shimmering sea in inner space. Artist Journal, September 1st, 2023, broadcasting to the world from the beautiful cruise ship in my mind in Berlin, Germany. My name is Adrian Pocobelli, and welcome back. And we have Spiegel's Maskinen. And I actually kind of need to go fast again today. I have a haircut appointment coming up, and it's not as intense as last time. So, as usual, they cut it extra short last time. So, TMI. So here is a beautifully dithered chair. Look at how beautiful that is. By Spiegel's Maskinen, part of a larger series. I think it's called Home Office. Let's just look. There is actually Waiting Room is what it's called. Interesting title. Waiting Room. So beautiful blues and perfectly colored, perfectly sized, perfectly skinned. And look at that, even underneath, all the pleasure that we get, even underneath, all the pleasure, or on the side, I should say, all the pleasure we get of dithering. It's perfectly sized here. And look at this beautiful, let me see if I can, I'm terrible at controlling these things. Here we go. Look at how beautiful that is. That is like an abstract painting in and of itself. This beautiful dithering. There's something just very aesthetically satisfying. Gorgeous work here. And where have we seen a chair before? I thought to myself, what is our analog in art history? And of course, maybe you've guessed already, it is our friend Vincent van Gogh with the chair. So I thought maybe this would be an interesting comparison here. As, you know, it's just kind of a fun analogy or analog, shall we say. And I found, I've been saying it's getting harder in a sense to find good quality images of art online because usually they're really clamping down. But I did find a really nice one on Wikipedia. And look at this. Massive file here. I think it's 5,000 pixels. And you can see like everything that's going on. It's almost, I don't want to say it's better than the real thing because there is nothing like seeing, you don't get the right color oftentimes with photography, with reproduction, photographic reproduction. Some of the magic is lost, but being able to zoom in like this is something that when you have like 10 people, probably for this painting, 20 people behind you, maybe at the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, which I highly recommend. Mind-blowing experience, I have to say. I haven't been there for 10 years maybe, but, there's something to be said for being able to go this close and see what Van Gogh's doing. Like you see here if we zoom out, we have this kind of light blue turquoise wall. And it's all done with this kind of cross texture. And you even see the canvas shine through, which is very modern, we might say, or put it this way, it's very unlike the academic styles, which were all about their underpaintings, right? Putting that, sepia underpainting. This was, and working on it and then blocking things in. In this kind of old masters tradition. Here it's done very fast and almost using the color of this rough canvas here as you see it bleeding through here as a contrast, as an outline of sorts. And interestingly, just finally here, we could probably spend all show on this, but also mixing in two colors together, a common kind of painterly technique, and then letting that kind of blend kind of work. You see it's kind of a darker turquoise mixed with a lighter turquoise, and then you get all of that kind of satisfaction, you might say. I have a feeling Van Gogh, as well as the Impressionists in general, were major innovators in this respect, because you still see contemporary painters. Oftentimes you'll see them use kind of more than one color in a brushstroke. And here you see it way back, what is this, 1887, I'm guessing, 1888. He painted all of his major paintings in the last 3 or 4 years. And I want to get back to Spiegel's here. But look at this, in the just all of it, and the beautiful, let's just see the year on this, if we can. National Gallery. Interesting. National Gallery in London is that is actually another stunning museum. Yeah, 1888 here. It's full of masterpieces. The National Gallery in London. I'm actually going to London in 6 weeks, so maybe I'll go see the chair and compare it to our close-up view here. All to say, there is history behind this subject matter. Let's go back to this very contemporary series here. I almost want to call it home office, but waiting room. And here you have this office chair. I love how I recognize, or how we all probably recognize, like it's a desk. This could be like an IKEA, shopping center. Here, okay, retro TV, so more signature kind of, retro computer, laptop. So this is more kind of trademark Spiegel's. This feels like, again, you recognize this. Kind of some of it looks like it's been taken out of like IKEA or an office catalog. Here's a cell phone. So reinserting Spiegel's in here, but then the rest comes in again, like feels like out of an office catalog. So let's zoom through these quickly here. So here's the suitcase, and nice color, kind of monochromatic here, kind of blacks and grays. So very nice here. Here's the desk. Again, using that really large dithering and doing like a dark to a light gradient, making it look easy, okay? Because, I guess it's the lighting. It's brilliant. I mean, it really is the perfectly sized dithering here. And probably there's a lighting aspect to this program, but I still feel like maybe Spiegel's is making some of the lighting here. See, it's all dark over here. It's part of a series, a table made for the waiting room of the solo exhibition, The Desktop by Spiegel's Maskinen at Brix Gallery in Copenhagen. And I believe Spiegel's is out of Copenhagen. Denmark, of course. Let's keep going here. The plant. So a lot of kind of this is classic Spiegel's Maskinen. I mean, the visual ingredients of our lives, the common objects, we might call it mental furniture, seems to be, we saw it in the Abnormal, the shopping mall. And here, kind of putting his own spin on it, though, with this retro laptop, even a bit of animation here. So the exhibition is called The Desktop, interestingly. So that is cool. And look at, again, perfectly sized dithering here. Nice color. It's like a gray-brown is what that looks like. And the keys are a ton of fun. The blue screen, very nice. And this, of course, I have a friend who has this actually in their entrance. And it's great just for putting on your shoes. Look at how beautiful that is, too. And you can zoom in on all this stuff, by the way. These are GLBs, I believe, or GLTF. I'm not too familiar with the software or with how these are made, but I just know it's kind of a format that you see fairly often here. More interesting lighting, isn't there? It's not like there's a light source that would be interesting if there was a light source and this changed as you moved through with the light source, but it's still gorgeous here. And even the book, I mean, so really beautifully, these dithered gradients are just beautiful. Just a box, empty office box. Hilarious. There are 13 of these, so we can't stay too long on each. And again, here's another one. It's kind of interesting when you maximize it, how it turns dark. I almost like the light gray background to a certain degree. It's so interesting. But look at this, that great green, 1-800 Spiegel's. And here is the coffee cup with some dithered coffee in it that is also animated. So just a lot of fun here. Here is a lamp. Let's just bring that up large. And just interesting here. And continuing on a bulletin board. So all of these familiar objects here of the office, really. And this clock that moves. I mean, I quite enjoy this up here, too. Kind of roughly, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but I love that. In the middle here, it's almost a little rough. And I actually quite like that. And this beautiful gradient here, you can look from behind. Ton of work looks like was put into this. And this moving photocopier to finish the job with all of these, what look like receipts or something, coming out, error 33. And so let's just get that like this. So really interesting take on the GLTF .tf file, what I thought was GLB. Again, I'm not an expert on this. There's an on-cyber exhibition. Shall we very quickly look? I don't really have time to go, but let's just go and see if these things often don't load up. Digital. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Will it work? So here's Brick's Gallery. It's like all virtual. I love it. Okay, so I don't know how to get inside. Visit the first part. Here it is. Okay. Then we're going to run through the rest of this show here. How are we doing? We got time. Not a ton, but we have time. Wow. We had to do this. And of course, I never know how to move around these things. You know what I want? If anybody who is watching who develops these, I'm using the arrow keys now. What I want is just to be able to hit play, and then it takes me on a tour. That is what I want, because it's way too complicated. As you can see here, I don't even know how to move around this thing. It's all just, so anyway, very cool. So here is the actual office, really nicely done, and dithered all of, made the actual space, like the walls and everything. So very cool work by Spiegels. Comments on last show. So Retro Manny, of course, who we started with. Thank you for the feature. Yes, I think you're absolutely right. The generation of artists who have come of age, so to speak, grew up on video games. Were there when that market was just a baby, and in turn have so many childhood memories locked up in that era. So it's also back to this nostalgia idea, which is interesting. The way I understand it is that many of us are exorcising our past demons, reliving childhood traumas, and using our art to somehow immortalize all of it, all at the same time pushing forward to collectively create something new out of it. Yeah, my take on this, because I feel it too. Like for me, it's Ultima 4. Ultima 4. There's music. Let me just. For me, it's Ultima 4. This game. Let's just say, I don't know, Trinsic. Not to get too off of, but this game here in particular, I've made artworks, actually. If you dig deep, I think they're on my website still. Yeah, like stuff like this screenshot here. That's beautiful. For me, it's not so much exorcising demons as it just had such a strong impact on me that again, I consider Ultima 4, for example, this work here, a early masterpiece of digital art, interestingly, within our whole context of our conversation. I've said that for years, before I even kind of realized that video games were such a huge influence on a lot of digital artists, but I just always loved this. And for me, it just had such a strong impact, particularly as like a 6-year-old, right? So I think that's part of it too. I think we were deeply impressed as kids by these graphics. And I think that has influenced and impacted our sense of aesthetics. As we were discussing yesterday, perhaps even our visual understanding to a certain degree. Because if you were never exposed to any of these kind of video games, I mean, it's a different kind of visual understanding. Again, maybe analogous to photography. Let's go back to the comment. So it's inevitable that the most visually identifiable aspects of the retro gaming culture are going to be reincarnating right now through this generation. And of course, Retro Manny does all the Retro Man comics and video game now. Hope that makes sense. Just thought I would share the comments. So thank you, Retro Manny. Super interesting. And yeah, there's no question that I think this had a huge impact on us as kids. And maybe for some people it is exorcising demons. Also, thank you, Runetoon. Congrats on the mint on Zora. I just saw that before yesterday. Spaces, gorgeous work. Thank you. Totally appreciate that. Great to finally make some work. Ed Marola, video games change the very understanding of what it means to be human. So Ed is going all out that this has anthropological impact, as we were discussing on the Spaces. Deep interest in anthropology. Marcel Muntianu, I am a simple person, saw Timothy Julien's amazing aesthetics in an art review and went to Object and bought it. Thank you. Very reminiscent of my latest aesthetic pixel experiments for Zora. Very underrated artist, Timothy Julien. Editions of 10 selling for 50 cents. Super interesting artist. I totally agree. And finally, aw heck, does the cruise ship of the mind have a Discord channel? And it's funny, when you wrote that, aw heck, I was like, maybe I should. And then I had to go to a Discord for other reasons, the Rug Radio Discord. And then I remembered why. It's a lot of work. Like, even Twitter takes up a surprising amount of time to just be active on it. So, I love the idea in theory. In practice, I think I'm too time constrained, but I'm keeping it open. And if there's a lot of interest, maybe we do something that's just kind of casual where we don't, so who knows if we can find a use for it, and I'm sure we could. So again, I like the idea in theory a lot. In practice, still kind of sitting on the fence though. In practice, Ed Marola. So just a really nice message here. Spoiler alert to Pocobelli's thank you card. So for being on the Twitter Spaces, and again, it looks like we have a bit of a archaeological, anthropological theme. And if you haven't heard that, it is in our Twitter feeds. And look at this. I love that little path here. And this like forensic, this archaeologist of sorts looking at this old excavation here. And with that beautiful brushwork. So it looks like just a crop, I think. But let's see. So a spoiler. Can't wait to see what that is. And look at this. Oh, this is it. So archaeologist, grab this if you've seen me on Pocobelli Space. So this must be a massive file. Let's just look. And wow, look at this. So this is a ginormous file, and there's that area there. So wow, thank you, Ed Marola. Big thank you. That is so cool. And look at that, great frame and just beautiful brushwork in here. Beautiful digital brushwork. So big thank you and shout out to Ed Marola and even some of that trademark purple there. And the fuzzy pixels and everything. And just in there, like beautiful composition. Very nice. And the brushwork and everything. Very painterly. And while we're on the topics of for those that did listen to the Twitter Space, we're discussing the huge impact of SimCity on Ed Marola. Grandpa Dream, this was also released, and here's a city. And I was asking Ed if SimCity influenced his use of the cities, and he said most definitely. He was almost an addict, he was saying, of SimCity. Joining the Reddits and everything. So very cool work here, as usual, by Ed Marola. Continuing on. This is not Ed Marola. You might think it is, but it's actually Martin Joe, one of the tributes, the homages, Martin Joe's Coffee Break 19 with Ed Marola's cup. Let's hit play. I thought brilliantly done. I thought this was an Ed Marola for like most of the morning, and then I read and I was like, wait a second, that's Martin Joe. So pretty hilarious and pretty well done. Pretty convincing. Martin Joe has been taking Ed Marola's YouTube masterclass, which is free, by the way. I mean, that could easily be like a paid-for series, which is free. So watch it kind of while you can there. And this was also sent to me from Santiago Izzacotl, because we love pen plotters over here. Look at this. So this looks like it's a show that is based on, I think, drawing machines and pen plotters, it was called. And so it looks like some traditional, what you might call the first generation of digital art, when you see like Herbert Frank, The Art of Drawing Machines and Pen Plotters. And then you have this really nice, like, Detroit techno keeps, look how beautiful this is. Detroit techno keeps, like, reasserting itself. It's because it's so good. It's surviving the test of time, and so people are coming back. Like, this ad was made for me. Beautiful. So, Vetro Editions. Books on generative art and visual culture in Berlin. Well, I'm going to have to see where these guys are. And that's interesting. Rare with a work in progress. So we see here, it's good to see from Rare. I put on the notifications because I realized I hadn't seen from Rare forever. And I think it's just the algorithm. So here we see Rare with actually a really cool comment here. Starting strong is important. Ending strong as well. The middle, it kind of works itself out. So Wise words here from Rare. Start strong and end strong, and then you should be fine. And here you see a nice outline here. And part of Rare's technique, of course, working on an iPad, often in coffee shops, really cool. So remember we saw Unit London? And who were they working with? They were working with Claire Silver, and then Ilay was in that exhibition, that AI exhibition, I believe. So here they're working with Tyler Hobbs, Jacquard Legacy. So, and I thought this was quite nice, and I think Tyler Hobbs has been doing a lot of physical work. And again, this looks like really sophisticated, kind of minimal art, and this looks physical. So probably more pen plotting and kind of reminiscent of that guy that used the printers, whose name I always forget, who will sometimes like pull the canvas a little bit while it's being printed. Kind of looks like that might be going on here, just to kind of create these bends, but who knows? But those are techniques that people use sometimes. And you couldn't zoom in too much. I tried, but really nice piece, I have to say. Demon Ego with a nice piece. I don't know, this is might be old, might be new. Really nice. Just physical work from the notebook here. Nice contrast to the color with the black and white, and almost like painterly photographic collage painted over top. A little bit of pen. Really beautiful from Demon Ego. And this is Moda MT. GM fam, hope you have a good day. The Turo is coming back to me little by little in my dreams and nightmares. I believe that soon I will materialize it again. So just a portrait of the studio with this beautiful massive plant. And there you see Moda MT working with physicals. And I imagine that's acrylic, but not positive. It's probably acrylic, but not positive. These could be oils, so not sure. Looking good, though. And here's LB. I mean, it's fascinating to see what everybody's doing here, and they post it. So working with the Game Boy camera here, and you see all that dithering there, and printing it out. So not just satisfied with getting his file, but printing it out. And this is really cool. And cheap paper. There's a lot to be said for, this kind of looks like paper that's just torn out. There's a lot to be said for cheap paper. It kind of gives a delicateness. Like if this was done on some fabulous, Hanamula board, maybe it wouldn't be as exciting as this kind of rough, torn paper. So, and maybe this is just a, working things out. It could be a sketch of sorts, right? A planning but looks really good. Remember we were seeing the cream Safa on the side of a building. Well, here's Kristen Roos, and this is part, I think, of VerseWorks. So this is Mimi Nguyen. And remember we saw, so this looks great, even at the bottom. It looks like projectors here. You see a little projector there. Remember we saw this? And then it looks like a projector over here, which is probably the easiest way to do this. And here's another one. Look at this, Kareem Safa. And we saw it yesterday, but not like this. I mean, this is pretty spectacular. So just really interesting to see this art in the quote-unquote real world, isn't it? Continuing on. Now, this is an older work. I believe it's Nicholas Sassoon, posted by Lonely Boy. I've never seen it before, and I think Lonely Boy is a part of VerseWorks, so I thought, here's an excuse to show this totally awesome work. And again, I think it's Nicholas Sassoon. Really cool. Never seen that one before. Here's another one by Lonely Boy, who again, Gardner at VerseWorks. So again, I don't know too much about VerseWorks, but pretty interesting what they're up to, isn't it? So just nice works being posted and everything. So a couple more shows IRL in real life. Sky Goodman, Patchwork Glitch. Let me just... there we go. Patchwork Glitch goes live this Friday, September 1st on Object.com, and in Chicago at I'm Not Art Gallery, world's first digital venue, Metaverse Born. I've had the extreme pleasure to co-curate this show with Empress Trash and showcase the work of 8 glitch artists who all approach the medium in their own unique ways. So Object and Physical Gallery. So very interesting. Here in Psycho, solo show curated by Project 22 Art, Two Dad, XB, Secret Room, Infinite Flows, auction started by DJ Kiro on Foundation. So more just physical world. You see this massive, on the wall here, kind of shimmering. That's pretty fun music. Very fun experience. That looks like very soothing and enjoyable. Infinite Flows, good title too. So congrats to Saiko on that. And Dan Control, as we go into the images here. And you're gonna have to, well, we're doing okay. So let's just see. So kind of had a medieval feel. Dan does these works that, they have a kind of a medieval feel in this big hilarious frame here. Love proposal. For you, this rose, my love. For me, this rose, my love. So again, you see here, I mean, it's kind of feels like part of this medieval series. There, we've seen this tree before. So reusing elements here. And look at that great chicken. Probably reusing the chicken and the rooster, or these roosters here, and maybe a hen over here. And there's a butterfly, probably reusing all sorts of stuff. And look at this. I mean, this feels very medieval manuscript-ish, doesn't it? And there you see the sun in the background and these wonderful oval clouds. So really nice piece here by Dan Control. And look at the clothing, just the straight gradient, almost reminiscent in its own way. This verticality, it's almost reminiscent of that Van Gogh, in a sense, that kind of, remember there's the wall with the cross and then the different colored wall, it was just vertical. So all to say, distant analogy there, but Dan Control, edition of 10 for 20, there are 6 left. So really nice piece, hilarious frame. The myth, cry now, cry later. And I thought this was interesting for a couple of reasons. First, you have the cool kind of classical Greek theater mass, smile now, cry later, comedy and tragedy. But then what else I found kind of funny, and I don't know if this is accidental or on purpose, doesn't it remind you of the Windows desktop with like the horizon here and kind of, the landscape and then the clouds? It really has like a Windows feel to it. And there you see the lemon head figure, a little shadow on it. And again, kind of that surreal feeling, kind of painter. Like he's kind of a bit of a surrealist, I would say, Myth, in the sense that, there's this figure here, and it's all, put it this way, there's always a lot of symbolism in the background. There's something kind of semi-Dali-esque about Myth's work. And here, and it's even very psychological, because again, what you feel, at least what I feel when I see this is relating to this guy here, right? Smile now, cry later. This is this guy's inner life, I guess is where I'm going. And that's often what we see with Myth, is kind of like this portrait of inner space, often in the background or all over the painting. It is a portrait of inner space, so to speak. So beautiful work there. That is by Myth and is selling for 15 Tezos, edition of 15. There are 4 left. So continuing on, Rinny Fish, edition of 55. I don't know if these are listed yet. Not listed yet. Very cool colors in here. Let me hit play here. So very simple audio as well. Really nice piece by Rinny Fish. A nice little monster here. Kind of mysterious. You have the tree kind of branching up, a heart, but these beautiful pastels. Just classic. Any clues here? Sorry, can't fix it. Feeling rainbow pukey. So dinosaur creature, bug. So just interesting. Kind of a couple of little rabbit figures there. And Board Me Social Club and Tornado Rodriguez have an edition of 20 Dionysus-esque collaborative work of Tornado Rodriguez and Board Me Social Club. Cheers to madness and joy and all things irrational. Amen. That sounds like a wonderful way to begin our weekend here as we cruise into Friday. And look at this. So here, obviously, we see Tornado is more the illustrative side of things, and Board Me Social Club is more on the painterly side of things. So a cool collaboration. Tornado has been talking about Board Me Social Club for months here, I feel. So, and look at this. It's almost like they're reaching out together, and you have the Board Me Social Club kind of reverse, almost awkward perspective. I almost want to call it a reverse perspective. And then you have the purposefully so, I might add. And then you have this kind of ruin of sorts done by Tornado, and here in the bubble bath and everything. So just really cool collaboration here. Very surreal again by both. And here you almost have these Magritte-esque curtains here, but tied with kind of suggestive rope here. And there we have almost a skull and a sense of death. So you got everything here. And there is the wine cup of Dionysus, the red wine, and we see the red in the curtains too. Edition of 20 for 5 Tezos, 11 left. Smonter put this out while I was away on August 11th, so just another really cool illustration by Smonter. It looks like a kind of mermaid in the sky. Unusual perspective, kind of sci-fi-esque, red sky, this kind of unusual six-eyed mermaid figure in the sky. Just really cool. Almost looks like arcade, as we were saying, in like Italian medieval city on the right, like Bologna. And then on the left, yeah, it almost feels like a European city, but then you have like this futuristic kind of arcs here. 2 Tezos each only. Edition, there are 15 left on primary. Really nice piece here for Showdown. Kind of suggestive title there too. Husilator by Trilobite. So interesting, kind of unusual work here. Not sure how it was made. Ever-changing, developing, and morphing. That is 4 Tezos, edition of 10. There are 7 left. And a work by Santiago. A new abstract here. Juicy Life of Speaking Spinach at the beginning of a new era. And here we see continued experimentation. I believe this is 10,000 pixels by 10,000 pixels. A massive square abstract work, edition of 10. There are 8 left at 11 Tezos. Cool colors here too. And no other information there. Juan Zapata. I thought this was pretty cool. Connected together, and just an interesting kind of, has a retro screen sort of feel, and just kind of challenging in this kind of blurred out pixelation. It almost feels like a lenticular print or something as you're looking at it. Just interesting abstract. Edition of 10, and they're all sold out at 3 Tezos each, and that was about a week ago. And here are other works by Juan Zapata. So you see, really exploring this theme a lot. Almost has a very, it feels like they could be paper prints with that margin. Continuing on, look at this fabulous work by Gozo, Morning Fog. Love this piece. This is beautiful. So nice kind of, I guess, a plant of sorts, and that looks like a rose, potted plant, and just beautiful background and everything. Kind of a little bit of texture in there too. Almost a paper kind of feel to this one too. Digital collage pixels, 4,000 by 4,000, pretty big. Maybe this was burnt. Interesting. But maybe they released another one. They did. So edition of 20, and it's 10 Tezos on primary. Continuing on, just a very cool work by mech.txt. Beautiful colors here. And yeah, just really nice colors. Love that combination of blue and the orange. I've used it myself in printed screen prints. And some nice dithering and just, more Eden, as he calls it, and just probably more unreleased work, I think. I mean, just makes a ton of work. And just another cool kind of classical with landscapes and a skull. Nice. And Mayu, guitarist. And again, who do we think of? We think of Picasso when we think of the guitarist. And here is a pixelated guitarist, almost bluesman with a skull playing. So interesting, more really original pixel art by Mayu. And look at that frame. Totally unusual. Kind of interesting how it's limited the palette as well. I think to good effect. Witness the synergy of pixel precision and glitchy creativity as it breathes the life into the world of music. So this is on secondary for 11 and sold out on primary at $7.50. So nice work there. And here's Green Ginger, and there is some music here with this piece. You're being watched. Kind of a video game music sound. Pretty fun. Again, we see the influence of video games, especially in the music there. Very cool. great music and cool work and kind of nice. We've seen this a couple of times now. I think Bombadil using that kind of semi-opaque layer to make the light, make sunlight come through. Just very cool. Green ginger, and how much is that? That is 5 Tezos. There are 6 left on primary, and let's zoom through the rest here. Silva Santu's signature. So this is part of the Tezos Art Collective. So this is Silva Santu's signature. Now, where is the signature? Maybe it's here at the bottom right. So that's pretty cool. Oh, here it is. Maybe at the top. You see? Silva. So super glitchy. You can barely read it, which is super cool. Silva Santu's almost looks like it was written with a mouse or something. Push start. Very cool. Continuing on, we have a beautiful work here. Guess who's back? Kurt Hustle Collective. And here is JNK with a super original trading card here. And as you can see, it's almost like glitched out, what do you call that? Petsky or ASCII text and everything. And this hilarious folder here. And the Vanguard. And there's a Tezos logos and everything. So just hilarious. Great to see them back, JNK, and cool kind of retro colors there. That was an edition of 52. 1 cent to me. Thank you, Kurt Hustle Collective. And selling for 5 Tezos. They're sold out. And there's another one too. Here's Terry Visual, edition of 52, V-Card number 1. And just another cool kind of glitched out background. There's the folder. Hilarious. So great to see them back. Hope they had a great summer. And thank you for the send. And yeah, sent out to a whole bunch of people. So totally awesome. Sabato, let's just look. This one's actually pretty long. So I don't think we're going to be able to see the whole thing. But let's see if there's no volume, I don't think. Which kind of gives its own feel to it. It's going to be hard not to watch this whole thing. And look at that. This almost aircraft carrier destroyer. I mean, last time we had all these walruses in the background, which was kind of hilarious. So, wow. I mean, I have to say, the war theme I always find super interesting. And here it's almost like the virtual version of like Battleship or something on the computer game. You go through the door, and here, again, there's like a jet plane, all these TVs. I mean, great narrative here. I'm going to kind of speed through it. Oh, look at how beautiful that is. Wow. I don't want to speed through this, but I kind of have to. Otherwise, we will not finish today. Look at how beautiful this. There's almost a similar computer to the Spiegel's computer there, laptop. And you see it almost looks like submarine windows. Very surreal. And then a library. Very surreal stuff. The liquid halls of modernity. Very cool. Watch the whole thing on Object. Let's just see what happened here. This is a collaboration with I'm Not Art Chicago. Created for the Patchwork Glitch exhibition in Chicago. So that's that show that we're seeing at the beginning of the show. And wow, nice work, Sabato. ROM corruption glitches of the SNES game Super Battleship and the Season 1 intro of seminal Aussie series H2O Just Add Water. Very interesting work. And edition of 17, did it sell? It hasn't been listed yet. But how interesting this is. I thought this was a great work by Kuhei Yamashita. Good night and good morning, a toothbrush. Very cool, kind of glitched out toothbrush. Just posted on Twitter. I couldn't find it minted anywhere. DJ Kuro and Ranexteer have put out a whole bunch of work. I took just a few samples here in their collaboration. So we see Ranexteer's kind of abstraction here with DJ Kuro kind of with the kind of analog video glitching over top. So interesting collab here. Edition of 1 for just 21 Tezos. And here you see a few more from the series. And they've actually released more since I loaded this up. Momentary Lapse 07. So pretty interesting collab, if you ask me. And here's another one, very glitched out. And really nice piece here. Great textures. Momentary Lapse, number 16. And here's another one. Great color. Almost feels like a zoomed in part of the piece by Ranexteer and then just treated, which is a whole other strategy. I mean, for some of my works, say like The Secret History of World War III, I would just zoom in on the paint strokes. And that even on the Peloponnesian War, I did the same thing. sometimes where I just get a paint stroke, then make it really big, and then work with that. And it has its own kind of quality because you get all the randomness on the side of the brushes, all the texture and everything. So, as I like to call it, the alchemy of scale at work there. So, LB, Long Tomorrow. So, digital painting made on Mario Paint for SNES. So, that is cool. So, I missed this one also. And again, looks like Mario Paint put through analog video processors. So another use of Mario Paint here. Edition of 5. I imagine this is sold out for 5 Tezos. They're all gone. Françoise Gamma on the scene. Mo Wellington. Look at this. Islay. I missed this while I was away, or actually this was before I was away. This beautiful kind of, so we're back to, now we're in AI and this beautiful kind of pixelated rainbow series in flowers. So I lay with a few works here, AI and digital painting in combination. So some edits there. This was just released on August 31st. I saw Mikey de la Creme post this one. That is quite beautiful. And I love the kind of diagonal here, like how it's not just a flat, kind of adds a lot to the image, and a cool kind of county fair type thing. Coney Island Ferris wheel, Wonder Wheel 1. And here are some other works, and I think we brought up something, just more recent work. So I like putting out a lot actually in the last few days. And here's a nice one for this is for the Claire Silver at Unit London work. This is minted by Islay on Foundation. And just another really cool combination of pixels and painterly textures and a kind of a rainbow in a kind of nice landscape here with some plants in the foreground. Interesting colors, nice textures, cool use of pixelation. Harmonizes fairly well. It doesn't, it's not like it feels like a layer on top. So cool work. Very cool AI work from Islay. This is Danielle King with a really cool, I think this is an AI painting. We'll check in the description in a second here. Pretty nice piece here. And look at this. Interesting treatment. It almost looks like GIF type treatment. Really interesting texture here. Although that feels more, yeah, interesting treatment. Almost feels like a GIF. The little pixels, it's kind of a nice way of treating that. So let's actually see what's going on here. Created with stable diffusion via MProps Open Studio Artist. So it's a PNG, a massive PNG, 4,608 by 7,000. Interesting work by Danielle King. This is on 01 Art. And here, Marina Amadova, Paradise of Enchantment. The world needs heavenly structures. So a AI, or sanctuaries, I should say, and another kind of surreal plant here. This almost braided plant. And so interesting AI artwork there. And Bosca Grazias with an AI artwork as well. I'm a landscape AI recreation. And so kind of a classic surreal juxtaposition with the plant in the head. AI recreation from fashion photo cloths of upcycling textiles, eco-printed by Bosca Grazias. Very cool. And a couple of works by Sum, a couple of new works in this AI art series by Sumi Reyusi, or Sum, and Postrooms number 2, and here's Postrooms number 3. So just cool AI artwork. And finally, we have Joao Salazar, which this might be old, but I thought it was brilliant. This is all, I'm not sure, I think this is paint, not plasticine this time. So also works with paint. Really cool original style. And is that everything? And that, my friends, is your show. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, take care. And until next time, have a great weekend.